So for this panel, which is my Work Smart Career panel, look at me accommodating corporate girls. Corporate girls. I've got you. How many people here do they consider themselves corporate girls? I just want to see. You're making me feel bad. You're making me feel so bad. But listen, I'm bringing the big guns out. So you'll be pleasantly delighted by this conversation. The first person I'm going to call on stage is Kgomotso Mosiane, who is the brand manager for Clinique. And sits on the advisory board for Agenda Women, so I call her 10 times a day. Maybe 15. The next person I'm going to call in is Piwe Motshegoa, who is the head of sales at DSTV Media. She is actually one of the reasons that I'm having this panel, because she called me last year. Was it last year? When did you call me?
3 years ago.
And she said to me, you're doing an amazing job, but what about all these girls that are working at DSTV and all these companies? So please. I said, Piwe, I'll figure it out. Give me time. So that's Piwe. And then the last lady I'm going to invite is Chanelle Prinsloo, who is the marketing director for Ferrari. I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to ask questions. So for this panel, I might actually have people in the audience ask questions as well, because I'm also learning out here. So we'll do it nicely. I'll ask one, you'll ask one. Fair? I mean, it has been my show the whole day. I mean, really. So, Kgomotso, not the first time on that Agenda Women stage. I remember the first time I had you was 2018. And, I actually, Kgomotso is very close to me. We know each other very, very well, but I have to track back to the story of how I met Kgomotso. I saw her profile on Instagram. I think you had like 2,000 followers or something like that. You were not TikToking at the time. Kgomotso is a big TikToker, believe it or not. She absolutely loves it. She gets her boss to do it. The entire team at the back, they know. So Clinique is part of the Estielode family, so that love situation going on there, it dates way back. But I remember seeing her profile and thinking, I like this lady. And at the time, you were, I think, doing work in West Africa, and I love the continent. So when I meet South Africans who are doing work in the continent, I'm absolutely intrigued, and I think I followed you, stalked you a little bit. I don't think she knows this. Stalked her a little bit, and then I had the opportunity to invite her to an Agenda Women event. She didn't know me. I invited her anyway, fearless, like Lungile, and today she's one of the anchors, really, of this brand. So thank you, Kgomotso. Thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question to you is, when you first came into corporate, what were your fears and what were you excited about, and what were you disappointed in when you actually came into the space?
Yeah, it was for survival. Anyone else agree that we need work to pay our bills? So I think we romanticize as much as we do the corporate world as we do entrepreneurship. First of all, I just want to say to the taxpayers, the people that graft on the daily, the ones that are on the how train in their cars, in and out, the people that meet the deadlines, the people that work for toxic bosses. Can you guys give yourself a round of applause? Listen. The people in the trenches, in the ghetto of corporate South Africa who make this country work. Come on, right? You don't drive the cars you drive for nothing. Siyagereza for those things, right? We suffer for those things. Congratulations and well done to every single one of you. I'm going to answer the question. Right, so I came in because first I needed to work because my mother paid my fees and for some reason wouldn't do black tax. So somehow we have to make it work. And I saw the girls driving nice cars. I saw people building emakaya and improving their homes. So that's why I wanted to work, right? No one told me about finding your worth at work and what that means. We need to speak about the worth that we expect to get from our work and why that's the disappointment and how it lets us down when we don't get the worth that we expect from work. So when you get the salary at the end of the month, that's good enough, but the rest of the 22 days suck. And we need to talk about those disappointments and how much we expect work to fill up our worth. Right? So that's what the disappointment was. I expected a lot more from work than what it could give me. But was it fair for me to expect work to give me worth? Possibly not, right? So that's what it was. I wanted to make money. I was wet behind the ears. I was excited to work, to put on my nice clothes with my heels. But little did I know how much it would actually ask of me.
Powerful.
Yeah, that's the answer to the question, guys.
Piwe, you sit right at the top of corporate South Africa at one of the biggest companies that we have in this country, South African founded, with many challenges. I think one of the things that that corporate presents is, you know, the red tape and the challenges and how, you know, this department needs to do that. And then I'm just like, I'm all the departments in my company. And all the decisions that need to be made, I speak to two people, we make the decision, we move. When you think about corporate South Africa holistically, the past and where we are now, what have you found has been some of the pleasant experiences that you've had working in corporate South Africa?
We are making waves as women. God damn it, we are doing it, girls, we're doing it. We are doing it. We are doing it, and they might not want to acknowledge it, but we know it, man. We know it. And I think for me, that is the most important thing. You know, we've spoken about purpose. We've spoken about speaking truth to power. We've spoken about what you want to be. I started in corporate as a 22-year-old girl who, it happened to me. I didn't happen to it, it happened to me. And when it happened, I'd been going out with a DJ, I'd been going all over the country, dancing and feeling special, and I thought to myself, but what's my next? What about me? Who is Piwe outside all of this stuff that doesn't belong to Piwe? What mark is Piwe going to leave in the end? So the two Tabita sisters talk about poverty. I talk about abject poverty. When you actually get worried when the rain comes because it's going to seep through the roof. And you think about that and me 30 years on sitting here and addressing other ladies, and you think, that is it. It's not how much money you've made. It's not the it's not the car you drive. It's the lives you've impacted. It's the lives you've changed. It's what you continue to do for people, because ultimately, and my mother used to say this to me, that you're going to leave it all here when you go. It's all here. I might carry a Louis Vuitton bag. If I get hit by a bus there, my 16-year-old might actually just get it, you know? So what is it that I want to leave behind? And when I look at the positives of women and the impact women have made in corporate, the one key narrative is we've made sure that the ones that come after us know it's possible. I'm older than most of you here. And it is such an amazing feeling to watch you. I've known you since you were a baby.
Don't do that. Now I'm just like, don't talk about me because I'm going to start crying. And I've made it through the day. Aren't you guys proud of me?
But for me to sit here and be interviewed by you, Nomdeni, think about where you and I come from. By the way, it's a pleasure to call you Nomdeni, because I'm led to believe that there's a very old person here that is also called Nomdeni. So I'm getting away with not saying Gugu or Makulu,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes, my grandmother and my
She's
aunt
right
are in the
here.
room, as well as my children. They're sitting right here at the front, as well as my children who are working for money. They're not working for free.
And these are the ladies who've paved the way. My grandmother was a cleaner at Botastau, which was the government offices of the Transkeian government. She would wake up at 4, make amagwinya to supplement her earnings. She's not here today, but God damn it, she's smiling down on me today.
Amen.
Because she paved the way.
That's it.
That is what corporate South Africa has enabled us, because not everybody can be an entrepreneur. But what it does is allow you to be your own entrepreneur and show up as a brand in a space that has many and multiple brands. But what makes you stand out and make impact is what's positive about what women have done in corporate.
Amen. Oh, amazing. It sounded like church. I said amen. Sounded like church to me. Chanelle.
Sana, declare.
Yes, these are the people I hang around, guys. Chanelle, you work in a space that looks predominantly male, and you're right at the top, really championing, the narrative of a big, bold brand in South Africa. One of the questions I always, statements in my head, wondering, how do you navigate being in a space where success is defined in a very masculine way and still carries so much femininity? Because when I met you, it was I actually met Chanelle at the last Veuve Clicquot event. You see how I move? I find you, I bring you in, and now you're part of the tribe. I met Chanelle at the last Veuve Clicquot event, and you're always so feminine and so graceful in how you show up. How do you navigate defining success in a way that allows you to stay in your femininity in a very masculine space?
Honestly, Nomdeni, firstly, I'm absolutely in awe to be here today amongst all of you wonderful, powerful women. For me, honestly, I think there is so much that we as women have to offer, and whether it be in the entrepreneurial space or whether it be in the corporate space, if you embrace who you are as an individual and what you stand for, and you focus on your purpose, it's very hard to shake that. So whether you're in a male-dominant environment or not, if you shift your focus from contribution, so you want to focus on contribution over competition in every aspect of your life, that is where your power lies. And for me, it was about, yes, I suffered with a lot of imposter syndrome, being a woman in a male-dominant industry, but over time, I had the right support structure. I had the right team behind me. I started networking a lot with the likes of the women from Veuve Clicquot, a lot with other powerhouse brands. And the more we spend time together as women, and the more we embrace each other and empower each other, the more we are capable of doing. So we have the ability to stand together and give each other the platform to make a difference, whether it be in the corporate space or in the entrepreneurial space. As you mentioned earlier, not all of us can be entrepreneurs. It comes with a lot of risk, it comes with a lot of courage, but I do believe that even in the corporate space, you can find a purpose and you can find what's true to you to make a difference in that place of work.
Listen, I want you guys to realize that you've clapped after every answer in this corporate panel. So I'm learning so much. But Kgomotso, I want to speak about the pressures of navigating corporate as a woman. I've heard horror stories. I'm on the outside, but I've heard what happens on the inside. How do you navigate this competition narrative that Chanelle just landed? And I really love how you said, focus on what you're contributing and not the competition. But it seems like when people work in corporate spaces, there's one end that a lot of people are focusing on. So you have 10 people trying to get one thing. How do you believe it's important for particularly young women who are navigating all of these spaces to think about what they want to achieve without really, killing people along the way? It sounds deadly sometimes.
It can get deadly. And I think a lot of young women have suffered greatly at the odds of a very shrewd corporate culture. Some of you are on antidepressants, some of you are in therapy, some of you have quit, not because you want to, but because it's just, toxic, but it is, right? And we cannot walk away from the adverse emotional abuse that, for a lack of a better word, is synonymous with the corporate space. Guys, I'm going to give you one advice. Please listen to me carefully. We, as hiring managers, hire for you to bring value. Not emotions, not stresses. It sounds so hard. I'm sorry. It sounds hard. I want to give you a softer landing. I want to give you a soft landing. It sounds harsh, and please bear with me, because this is going to be a lesson that will help you to avoid some of the pitfalls that you fall into when you look for worth from work. Right? So we hire for shareholder value. You are there to be a small part in a big thing. If you can understand that I'm here to bring value, and it looks like this, Nomdeni is here to do the same. She's also here to bring value. Well, she brings value in many ways. But do you understand what I'm saying? If you can compartmentalize yourself within the space in which you work, I'm not saying it's going to save you from a toxic boss because people are crazy, but it helps you to internalize and understand your expectations both ways. Because what's currently happening in the corporate working space is all of this toxicity comes from misaligned expectations. Right? Because you're looking for worth from work, your work is asking you for value, which is the bottom line. So if you can compartmentalize the reason why I work, I don't work to get my worth. I get that from friends, family, church, other things. Like when I go there, and it's not you saying, work is work, I don't want to make friends here. Those guys are also boring. But what it is it's the power of compartmentalizing and understanding and saying to yourself, this is what I expect, and this is what... Guys, isn't that what performance appraisals are? We have a contract. These are your KPIs. You do them well, you get the increase. You don't do them, you don't get the increase. Of course, people are... But it saves you a whole lot of emotional stress and emotional damage if you learn not to expect worth from work. Compartmentalize your life. Then it'll help you. It's a means to an end. Piwe's been around longer than me, and she's telling you guys it's a means to an end. And take it from what it comes. Obviously, there's purpose, guys, in it, right? But it's purpose that's linked to a particular thing. You cannot place your full worth in your work. Uzolimala. Right? So yes, it's a tough space. Nomdeni is right. People are killing each other every day in the meeting. She was saying, I said, let me send an email, blind copy, CC, inside, outside. Where did she say it, right? Bring shareholders the value, you will grow and you will stay.
I think that is such an important question, so I'm going to pass it on to the other ladies, and really, I want your answers to really come from, because you're not junior. You're not like knocking at the door. You have gone through all of these things and trying to figure out what value do I bring and how do I get to the next level and the next level and the next level. People, what has it looked like for you? And considering that also you've lived in two eras. There was an era where work was, you just go to work, you get paid. And now we're in an era where somehow it feels like work should feel good as well. What has it looked like for you?
I absolutely agree. It is a means to an end. And I will tell you why it's a means to an end. Purely because you can never ever say, my purpose is to wake up, go to multi-choice and produce isibaya. That, sorry mama, that is bullshit. That's not why you do it. You do it because you want to impact people's lives in a certain way. You want to tell the untold story. Some of us, age and how long we've been working has given us the privilege to see both worlds. When I started at the SABC, I was young. It was at the cusp of change. You know, the old dispensation was saying, you want it, take it, and we're not imparting anything to you. And it took 8 years of that growth for me at the SABC. When I left, I went away on sabbatical, had my second child, and MultiChoice found me in the hay and brought me in, okay? I went into this space. I walked in. You have never seen any place more clinical in your life. How are you? What are you here to do? And the SABC was the opposite. Every Friday there was PubNet. We were all friends. And then I walk in, and all I'm expected to do is to deliver value. Then I looked at myself and I said, what is this job? What is it doing for me? It's a means to an end. I started working at MultiChoice. 3 years in, I said, but there's nothing for black people here, guys. That's how I was at the cusp of creating the compact bouquet for MultiChoice. The biggest growing bouquet. I was there. I was there. When Mzansi Magic was created in 2010, I can tell you where the launch was, who spoke, what I was doing there. I was there. That is purpose. To look at this juggernaut and know that you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Not because Yolisa Patle liked me or not, because that's neither here nor there. She's not my mother. I'm not looking for her to like me. I'm not looking for her to validate my value. Hell no. What I'm looking for is for Yolisa to say, Piwe, now that Mzansi Wetu is thriving, Mzansi Magic is thriving, we want to know what else you can do. And then you think, go get a young black producer and come up with another channel. Call it Moja Love. Give it tabloid content. Because she knows I can add value. Not because, and by the way, I'm not in content, I'm in advertising. But the mere fact that I can sit in a forum where my opinion is asked and matters is a reflection of how hard I've worked to get myself there. I'm not there to make friends. Vinny's my husband and the children are there. And I've got a lot of friends. I'm not there for that.
Yeah.
I'm there to earn a salary so that my kids can go to Mauritius on holiday. And I am blessed to actually earn my salary doing something I enjoy.
Yeah.
But the baseline of what I do is not the enjoyment. I'm just blessed to have had a clear picture of what that looks like. You can get that picture at 24. You can get that picture at 44. It's never late, ever. But what it looks like is that fine balance between understanding what makes you tick and what pays the bills.
Well, that's that on that.
Then you walk
Chanelle?
in there and you won't have psychological safety issues, and my boss doesn't like me, and that colleague is jealous of me. You won't have those issues if you know exactly why you swipe your card at that turnstile every morning and do your job.
What's the one?
Sounds tough. Sounds tough. But we're not going to survive this thing, girls. All of us. If we're not honest with each other, and we are our own worst enemies. You have never seen a more jealous boss than a woman boss. There's nothing worse, because you can't cry foul and say, I'm black and a woman, because actually they're not white and male. They are like you. So you can't hide behind that anymore. Because like you said, I've lived through all the eras. There was a time when I would get into trouble and go, is it because I'm black? It doesn't work now. Because we're all black. If we're not brown. Seriously, guys. Then you walk in there and then you are thrown into a space you cannot navigate because you've not told yourself, you've not ascertained within yourself what it is that makes you wake up every morning.
What I really like about what you share is, for the woman who is looking for purpose in the spaces where they do work, because I think it is important to kind of understand what kind of company aligns with some of your fundamental values. Because I think we all have fundamental values that we need to kind of honor. You have to honor those fundamental values. So when you do pick where you go to work, it's important to do the research of better understanding what workplace allows you to do some of the work that you love. And I think that's what you found at MultiChoice, where you're very clear about the fact that there is a KPI and the company is interested in return on investment, but you also recognize there's an opportunity to impact the community that you come from through the content that you create. So I think that's a beautiful juxtaposition from, understanding that your work cannot give you worth, but there is a way that you can be impactful and still deliver on the ROI. What has it looked like for you, Chanelle?
So I couldn't agree more with what you ladies said. By corporates looked for how you can add value into their organizations. And I agree that you want to look for an organization where you feel that your value is going to be appreciated. But in my case, it was very different. I started out when I graduated looking for jobs left, right, and center, and I couldn't find one. Everybody wanted experience. They want 3 to 5 years experience, and no one's willing to take a graduate and say, here you go, darling, here's a nice marketing executive position, you start. So I had to start right at the bottom of the food chain, like most people do, answering telephones as a receptionist, and my struggle started from the bottom. And after 10 years of hard work and consistency, I've managed to put myself in a position where I no longer feel that imposter syndrome. I no longer feel that my value needs to be dependent on those in the workplace. I know what I bring to the table, and I know that we can take the company further. Saying that, when I joined Ferrari, I started the first internship program internationally for the company.
Wow.
And that was my value add into the organization. Because of the fact that I had a struggle when I was a young individual that had no mentorship, no guidance, I had no experience, what are people following us supposed to do? So I created a platform through my own struggle and my own story to create an opportunity for those that follow me to have a better opportunity at it, and to put them on a platform where it's easier for them to go and find jobs and to pursue their passions. Now I've been running the internship program for the last several years, and each year we help placements of these interns into big organizations, big corporates, which is why networking is such an important part of what we do, because we might not be able to employ all of them, but I know that somewhere along the line someone is. In saying that, you are your company's biggest competitive advantage. Remember that. And there's power in that, guys, because you, as your own personal brand, and take what you've learned here today to build your own personal brand and to find a niche or a gap in your corporate spaces, in your entrepreneurial ventures, to make a difference. That is the purpose of us existing here on earth. And I think that's the common denominator of what we've all spoken about.
Yep.
You need to find your purpose, and you cannot delay to act on that. Because when you do that, that is when your power will be unleashed. That is when you can truly become who you need to be.
I'm going to open it up to the floor should anyone have questions. Amanda, please do help me with the microphone from Kgomotso if we need to get it roving. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question from the ladies? There we go. There's Sibu, who is actually an entrepreneur. But let's get her to ask the question in the career panel. Hi, Sibu. But before Sibu's question, I wanted to kind of summarize what you said, Chanelle, which I think for me as an entrepreneur, I've recognized is the power of corporates, the idea of having an opportunity to be impactful at someone else's budget. Yes. Because me and Sibu and all of us, we have to go and find the 5 rands. Then we have to come and bring it in, and then take 25% and give it to SARS. And then when we're done, whatever is left, then try and get a salary of our own. And then when we're done, try and do an event for Agenda Women. And then when you're done, you have nothing. So I think one of the things I've always admired about the corporate space is that when you figure out how to navigate it, you can be impactful on someone else's dime. Sibu?
Oh, thank you for this. Wow, I'm so inspired by listening to people who are passionate about growing businesses, especially because I am an employer to 44 young, amazing creatives who are my competitive advantage. So it's really, really great to hear it from the perspective of people who work in the type of businesses we hope to be one day. And I think what I observe with some of the different clients that I work with is their own personal challenges with their own growth inside the spaces that you guys are in. And what would you say to the graduate who is just starting out in corporate, whose first job it is, about switching off the noise from all the people you're trying to impress, the people that you're working with, but also being competitive enough to stand out? Because it's a very difficult balance to navigate
Yep.
and negotiate with self?
Good question. Anyone can take it, please.
I'll take it. I think it's a very fine balance. I think for me, what's important, again, as mentioned here, is the value you bring. If you're a graduate, you're not going to bring that much value in actual fact, as you start your career, you'll find that the business that you work for does a lot more for you than you do for it. It's fine. What I've seen with young people is this competitiveness that actually gets them into trouble because you don't focus on the things that matter. You want to be seen by Piwe that you make the best cup of coffee, whatever the story may be. What you're doing is you're shifting focus from what you should be doing, which is to say, here's a big corporate, I've gotten the privilege to come here. It might be that it's not my dream corporate, but I'm here now. Let me navigate the space. Take time to learn the nuances, not what the CEO stands up and says. The nuances, the unsaid, because that's what separates the girls from the women. I can't say boys from men, guys. That's what separates the girls from the women, is basically how you analyze, look, think about what that means for you, because the next step that you take is dependent on that space. And again, going back to who you are and what you want, based on what I want. And I want to impact my communities and tell our stories the way they've always been told. I'm from Ngangelizo location in Umtata. Until 5 years ago, nobody was telling my story, right? But I sell advertising. I don't create content. But I can navigate that space well enough to know that Nomsa Piliso is my person to say, here's a program, Sisi. Take the time to do exactly that. Because as you grow, you need to be able to navigate that space. It's a complex and not the easiest of spaces to navigate. So while you are busy trying to impress this guy who signs your leave, you don't focus on what your next is going to be. My colleague Rochelle Knock struts it every morning at MultiChoice, stilettos, everything. She's my opposite, I don't. And I always go, yes, girl, I'm dressing for the job I want, not the one I have. Think for the job you want. The one you have, you've got. Think for the job you want.
Amazing.
That's your growth.
Love that. Is there anyone else who wants to ask questions? Oh, okay. So we'll do that. Then we'll do, and then.
Hi everyone, my name is Mosam Kize. I am in corporate but also have a thriving side hustle that I've got going. So I think, as we reflect on the fact that Women's Month is drawing to a close, right? And Nomdeni, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it first. I'll use the privilege of having a mic, but I'd also love to hear the ladies as well. When I reflect on the ladies that marched to the union buildings in 1956, there were many problems at that time, right? But I think that one thing that impresses me about them is that they were so resolute on just one thing that they focused on, right? And so my question is, in line with the theme of today, what's next, right? We've spoken about a lot of challenges that we face as women, within corporate, within entrepreneurs, and in other spaces as well. What would you say in your spaces is that one thing that we can laser focus on so that when we walk out the door, we have our call to action?
You guys are smart, hey? I thought you guys were just pretty. I thought you guys were just pretty, but there's a lot going on. So for me, I'm gonna, they're laughing that side. Should I answer first? You guys are my guests. I would love to hear, and I will definitely answer as well. But maybe one person takes it, and then I will give you my answer as well.
That was a phenomenal statement to make. I think a lot of us think, as women in this time, what's next for us? Because we're constantly trying to pivot. We're constantly trying to think of what's the next big thing that we're going to be doing. And I think that as a woman in this day and age, it's a very exciting time for us. And I say that because we have got so many platforms that we can share our stories on and that we can make a difference in. what I would do is I would like to see, and I'd like all of us maybe to take a stance at this as we move forward and we leave here today, is do our own little bit in society to empower each other. And I say that with the most amount of passion in me, is that we may not think that we can change someone's life, but if you change one person's life, that has a knock-on effect to how many people you can change around you. We need to start small. We need to start giving a little bit more advice to women around us. We need to start employing women where it's appropriate. We need to start buying and supporting local businesses and local entrepreneurs. We need to do what we can within our society and within our communities to empower and uplift each other. Because I think when women stand together, the impossible becomes possible, guys. Look at what we've got here today. I get goosebumps. I mean, you know, when women support each other, what you can do and what you can fulfill is absolutely limitless. I want to see more women sitting at tables as CEOs and directors, and honestly taking a stance at what is important to them and bringing their sense of femininity and grace to male-dominant environments, non-male-dominant environments, wherever they are. I want them to leave a legacy and to make an impact. I think that's honestly what we had to do. So that's what's next for women.
I'll keep mine very short in an effort to go to the next question and come back and close this panel. I've committed my life to women. You know, the work I do this is not a side hustle. This is actually my 5 friends that I was talking about with Osibo. And I'm a big believer in looking at my own journey, that information sharing and mentorship is going to move us forward. I think I am a result of all the women that are around me. I held it in the entire thing. I look at this panel, and these are women I can pick up the phone and call any day about anything. In building up to this event, I called Kgomotso maybe 5 times or more. I called Piwe to ask, what kind of deal did you get with the venue? Basic things like that. And being able to go back to the venue and know that I can I can negotiate. I can ask for less. That is pivotal for me in navigating how far I can go. I could have come here and they could have charged me 500,000 rands and I could have said, no, I can't afford it. Access to these type of women is revolutionary for me. I have a partnership with Estee Lauder today because I met that team through Kgomotso. I have a partnership with Veuve Clicquot today because the marketing director sent me a DM. We have Belvedere outside because of that same marketing director. I have a partnership with the events team there, Done and Penny, because I met them when I was working in entertainment. Every single thing you see here is a result of access. My hair was done by Ulondi. I've never met her. I met her for the first time today. She sent me a DM and she said, can I give you clothes? The outfit I'm wearing, I saw Aurelia wearing the type of styles that I wear, and I said to her, who does your clothes? She sent me the number. Everything that makes my life is access to amazing women. So when I build this platform, when I bring you here and I say I want you to eavesdrop on the conversations that I get to have, it's because they've made me who I am. The reason I sit and I ask these women to sit here and I ask them all these questions, it's not sometimes because I don't know the answers, but I know that someone has that question. So what I believe is next for women is for us to figure out how to create community and to thrive in community, because what is building this platform is community.
And Nomdeni, for me, I've said this to you since you were 25 years old. You cannot grow if you don't lift others. This phenomenon of being the only one there and the first one and then Dondoni is great. If you think about me, and I can only speak based on my experiences, I'm the first one to sit on Agenda Women from Toilet Street in Gangelizo location. They're first. I'm I'm the first. Great stuff, good times. But what does that mean for me, for that young girl who's watching this podcast, of a lady that grew up in the same street as her today?
Absolutely.
So you can never grow if you don't lift others.
Absolutely.
And if you talk about the next, for me, if you take anything out of what I've said today as your next, is I'm gonna go out. I'm going to change someone's life. Doesn't matter how small. It doesn't matter how small. It doesn't matter if it's that bursary that you know your corporate is taking out, and you know of a girl who can actually,
Benefit.
who's good at this thing. It doesn't matter. But when your next must always and can never be about you. It's got to be about the next person. That's your next.
Now that you've done that to me, after the whole day of me being a professional here, I'm gonna move over to Ubuli for the next question. But yeah, it ultimately, guys, is about community. It is about intentionality and what you wanna bring into the space. I could tell you stories about all the people that are in my life. Amanda, who does our social media, I was meeting her for the first time today. She's been working with me for a very long time, and we've been just working virtually. There is, for me, so much intentionality that we need to apply in how we want to grow as a community. And it could be one small thing that you do. It is sending someone money if they need to get to the next destination because they need an interview, and you have it. And maybe they're scamming you, but that day you have it. And you say, you know what, I'm going to take a risk. I can't tell you the number of DMs I have from women who say, I heard this, I did that, or that. This thing is a pyramid scheme. How we're going to get to the top is by saving one person, who then saves another person, who then saves another person, and a couple of people. It's community. Willie, I'll let you ask your question.
Thank you so much, Nomdeni. Firstly, thank you for this platform that you've created. I think it's just, this is the stuff that legacies are made of, so well done to you.
Thank you.
My name is Buli, and I'm a corporate bae. And I wanted to ask, and it's just picking up off of something that Piwe was saying, and just referencing to what you said earlier, Nomdeni, just around, you know, what girls say and what we say about women. Now, I think as a young woman in corporate, yes, I strongly believe that as young women, you must stay curious, you know, and learn from the older women who've gone ahead of you and just soak it all up, right? How do you navigate when the reception on the other side is feeling threatened by this force that's coming, right? When this force, all that this force is trying to do is to learn and be curious and ask questions. But the older woman is just feeling like this bully girl is a problem. How do you navigate that? Thank you.
Brilliant question.
Jonga.
Ati Jonga.
There's studies, guys, papers. We must share our numbers. There's papers, studies that have proven that the growth of women is not inhibited by men, but by other women. Studies. And then if you come into a space where you are so confident and so comfortable in your own space, and you're being led by someone who second guesses themselves on a daily basis. I've been there. Because my mother in Xhosa, sorry, I don't know what it is in English or Sotho or Tswana, used to say, Undwebile, man. Undwebile.
You're forward.
You're papa. But it was, you know, one of the things that I've been told, which I need to impart to you because it changed my life, was that understand your faults, understand your triggers, and don't judge yourself. Because one of the things that you will get, Bumi, when you go into that space where you find resistance is that it will not just be resistance, it will be an intended intention to break you down. You're not good enough. You are wrong here. You are wrong there. I've been called political. I've been called aggressive. I've been called rude. I've been called all kinds of things. But then I will turn around and say, how's my work? Here I'm for work. Yes, there's respect, and you must understand that respect is a theme that lives through every single aspect of your life, including your work life, right? But when you start to feel that resistance, my leadership coach taught me one thing, which we excel in as women, but we take for granted, is our villages. The villages you build around yourself.
The community.
The people that have empowered me to stay the course, have the bravery to speak truth to power where I work, be able to understand that I will not be scared or apologetic for what I want, don't come from multi-choice. They don't. They come from outside. Because there are certain levels you will go to where it stops. Find those people. Find them through a friend. Go to Old Mutual with your friend who works at Old Mutual. Navigate that space. Pull out a person you think would change your life and make a difference. Because unfortunately, the only power you have is what you can do. You cannot convince or influence what the next person does. It is a difficult space to be in, my sister. I know it. You cry. You don't want to go to work. You park in the parking lot. You don't want to get out of your car because it's so hard. It is difficult, and you're trying to change. But what you must never do is to change who you are, is to change your path, is to change your direction, because you need to morph yourself into something that somebody else wants you to be. Because once you get to that point where you think they want you to be, they ask for more. The more you give, the more they take. The more you give, the more they take. So it doesn't matter. You are doomed if you do. You are doomed if you don't. That is the reality. Like sometimes these things sound harsh, but it is the reality of the corporate world, guys. Is that when you talk about navigation, you know we've got big words in corporate: pivot, navigate, target market, zininzi. But if you don't actually delve deep into these words and what they mean to you, once again, it comes back to you, you will not survive it. Compartmentalize, new corporate word, compartmentalize. And find them, and you must give them some credit, shame there and there. If it's not easy with the women, find a guy. Find a guy. I've learned a lot from male mentors, a lot. So don't keep it with just the women's space. Find a guy who actually has no vested interest, who's not interested in what you do, because you will find that with men. If you find a way around them and how you navigate, how you speak to them, you can extrapolate a lot out of them.
Extrapolate.
So, extrapolate, target market. But I'm with you. I know exactly what you're going through. But maybe let's chat a little bit more. I'll tell you about my own experiences because, wow.
I do charge a fee. I mean, yes, community, yes, and everything that I said. But I do charge a fee for people, meeting each other at the Genomic Summit. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time I have for this amazing panel. Thank you, Kgomotso. Thank you, Piwe. Thank you, Chanelle. This was powerful. This was powerful. Thank you so much, ladies. We're going to take a picture very quickly.
The further you take my rights away,